ready for the second hour of our May 10th, 2013 live episode. May 10th, 2013, that's today. Thanks for listening, everybody. 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. That's the number to call to talk to me live if you're listening to the podcast and would like information about the health opportunity or the wealth opportunity, 855-347-3696. And if you're calling up to this radio show and cold, you found me on the internet, you weren't referred here by a friend, if you just kind of found this show randomly and you'd like information about how to order the health supplements at the wholesale price that we talk about, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696 is the number to call. And also, we talk a lot about the longevity opportunity. If you would like to become a longevity member, join my team, Team Glidden. And by joining my team, Team Glidden, you will accelerate the growth of your longevity business. If you're new to this, you came here through the Alex Jones listenership or through somebody else, and you've been considering whether or not to get your feet wet with longevity. Get your feet wet with longevity on my team. Let my team members and myself show you the way, the longevity way, to increase your wealth by increasing the health of everybody in your family. To do that, call the number 855-347-3696 or just visit the website longevity.com or longevity.ca. Click on, fireyourmdnow.com. or fireyourmdnow.ca. My producer just had a little tizzy there. Fireyourmdnow.com or fireyourmdnow.ca. And click on the longevity button. If you join us that way, you are automatically a member of Team Glidden, and that's a beautiful thing. Mary's been holding on from Michigan, I think. Mary from Michigan is on the phone. Thanks for waiting, Mary. It's your turn on Fire Your MD Now. You are live.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for calling, Mary. How can I help?
I hope you can give me some good suggestions for osteoporosis of the spine.
Oh, yeah, I got lots of suggestions for that. I mean, that's not rocket science, as they say. How tall are you and how much do you weigh, Mary?
I'm 5'6.5", and I weigh 135.
Okay. And how old are you?
I am 65. Not
all right.
Retired.
You go, girl. Woohoo! What are you retired from, by the way?
No, I'm not yet retired. I'm still sitting in front of a computer.
That's all right. Join Longevity, and we'll show you how to stop your JOB and increase your net worth over time. I mean, no kidding. This is the real deal. I mean, it's the real deal. And I have met the $1 million earners in the longevity company, and they're awesome people, but, they're not rocket scientists. There's nothing really, intellectually superior about anybody in longevity. We've got bricklayers, we've got plumbers, we've got school teachers, we've got lawyers, we've got PhDs, we've got kids. This is not a difficult business to do. It just takes, you have to be coachable. You have to be willing to learn, be willing to figure out how to do stuff and be taught how to do stuff. But really, it's very, very easy. If you can pass the driver's license test, then you can have a very, very successful longevity business. Now, who told you you have osteoporosis, and how do you know?
From the bone scan.
So that's all that you did, was the DEXA bone scan?
Yeah, it was way in the red, and the doctor was scared.
Yeah, well, your doctor's an idiot. And they recommended which one, Fosamax or Boniva?
Well, they wanted to do something to inject you that you get injected with. I don't know what it was, and I said I'd think about it, but I didn't go back. All
right, smart girl. Now, do you have any other health problems like high blood pressure, restless legs, a lot of bad teeth or false teeth or missing teeth or chronic low back pain? You got anything else that's a problematic?
Teeth are not good. They chip a lot, and they put plastic on it to kind of repair it.
Yeah.
The only thing I know from blood tests are really high lipoprotein A.
Oh, all right. All right.
I'm going to explode.
Yeah, well, probably not. If you, not now. Maybe yesterday, but not now. All right. So what about, high blood pressure or inability to fall asleep at night or restless legs or Charlie horses or muscle tics or twitches or cramps?
Charlie horses a bit at night, yes.
Okay. So the Charlie horses, the tooth problem, and the osteoporosis are all different arms of the same octopus. And these are all... Yeah, right. So that makes you the smartest girl in class. So, right, this is all not enough minerals in your body. Specifically, the biggest players here being calcium, magnesium, boron, and phosphorus. The top four: calcium, magnesium, boron, and phosphorus. And the undisputed king of that hill is calcium, for goodness sake. If you cremate somebody's body, 1/3 of the ash, more or less, is calcium. Your body has massive needs for calcium, which simply cannot be met by food. You can't do it. It is impossible to meet your body's mineral needs just by eating from the 4 food groups. You can't do it, right? So look, there's stuff we got to do to survive on planet Earth, right? We got to build houses and heat them and cool them and live inside them to protect us from the elements. We have to develop a sewage system that efficiently removes our waste materials, right? We have to find and purify water. These are all things that we need to do just to survive. Well, guess what? There's one more thing that we need to do just to survive on planet Earth, but nobody does it. Well, my listeners do. My Youngevity members do. People in the greater Youngevity family do, because we have the secret decoder ring. We do. The other thing that everybody on this planet needs to do in order just to survive and to optimize your health of your physical body is you have to find and ingest 90 essential nutrients appropriate for your body weight every day. Things like calcium and magnesium and zinc and boron and vitamin A and vitamin B and vitamin C and omega-3 and omega-6, right? These things, you need to swallow these things in the form of nutritional supplements every day. And if you don't, well, guess what? Your teeth start to get funky, your bones start to get funky, things start to break down in your body, and then your medical doctor, not knowing any better, being a Machiavellian minister of medical mediocrity, marches into this situation and throws a drug at it. For goodness sake, it's nonsense. Listen, I can prescribe drugs, right? I got no problem with drugs when they're indicated and when they're necessary. For goodness sake, in 20-plus years of clinical work, you know how many times I've needed to prescribe drugs? Less than 10. For goodness sake, but don't get me started here, Mary. So I do have some interesting information to tell you about the DEXA scan, and then I'm going to tell you what I want you to do for 90 days, okay?
Okay.
All right. So the DEXA scan has a built-in error ratio. Most laboratory testing has built-in errors, and the error of a DEXA scan is between 5 and 8%. So if we cut that down the middle, it's 6.5%. So the next time you get a DEXA scan, which I would recommend you do 9 months from now, 9 months from when you start my program, 9 months, I want you to go back to the same place you had the last DEXA scan. I want you to go to the same facility and be tested on the same machine. Don't go to a different, DEXA scan center. Don't go to a different city. Don't go to a different hospital or different town. Go back to exactly the same place with exactly the same machine that you got the first time. Okay. And then, before you do that, I want you to get your first set of results out, and I want you to write down the numbers on a piece of paper for, your scores. Whatever your T-score was, whatever the scores were, it's a numerical value. I want you to write those scores on a separate piece of paper, and then I want you to multiply those numbers by 0.065. 0.065. That's 6.5%, which is the error ratio of the machine. So you have your old score, You measure it by .065, and then you take that number and you add it to your old score and subtract it from your old score. You add it to your old score and subtract it from your old score. And that gives you the error range of the next test. You with me?
Yes.
All right, that makes sense, right? So before you get the next DEXA scan, you're going to know the range inside of which, if your results are inside of that range that you have just calculated, then it's meaningless.
Oh.
So if your score has improved or gotten worse inside of that range, the results are meaningless. In order for the results to be meaningful, the numbers have to be outside of that error ratio range. They have to be greater or less than those two numbers in that range. And if they're not, then you can consider that your situation for osteoporosis has remained unchanged. And I hope that made some type of mathematical sense to the listening audience here. So that's how we calculate the error ratio. You take your original score, you multiply it by .065, and then you take that number and add it and subtract it from your original score, and that gives you the error ratio range for the next test. And in order for the test results to be valid, to have medical physiological validity, the numbers have to be outside of the error range. If they're inside of the error range, then they're statistically insignificant, and it means that your osteoporotic state has not budged an inch, and that the therapy that you're doing is completely ineffective and needs to be abandoned and changed. Now, your medical doctor will tell you that to, fix osteoporosis, you need to take a bisphosphonate, and he's wrong, because bisphosphonates like Fosamax or Boniva, all that they do is stop your body from chewing up old bone. So old bone accumulates in your bone, and then you get something called a spontaneous fracture, which is exactly what they're trying to prevent. For goodness sake, fire your MD now. Stick around, Mary. I'm going to dial it in for you when we come back. Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your friendly neighborhood naturopath. We are talking to Mary about osteoporosis. So, Mary, let me get this straight. You're 135 pounds, soaking wet.
Right,
All right. So what we do here is and really this is, just common sense. Why every doctor in the world doesn't do this is beyond me. So what we do for everything is we give your body the raw materials that it needs to support and promote the structure and function of the part of your body that's weak. Now, in your case, it's your skeleton, right? Your bones and your teeth. I mean, they're weak. So we need to give you bone nutrients and also counsel you, please, to stop eating food that are going to hurt your bones. So the biggest problem in that arena is any type of soda pop, anything that has phosphoric acid in it. I don't even want you to look at soda pop, but there are 10 other foods that we have determined are bad for you, bad for me, bad for everybody, and rather than just reading that list 100 times a day on the radio, please just visit my website and we'll give you the list for free. It's fireyourmdnow.com, fireyourmdnow.com. And once you get there, just click on the link to join my, sign up for my free monthly newsletter. And once you've signed up for my free monthly newsletter, you'll automatically be given a copy of something called the Good Food, Bad Food list. The good foods are optional, okay, but the bad foods you need to avoid 100%. There's only 10 of them, and it's really easy to do. And when you avoid these foods, you're going to feel so much better. So, in addition to cleaning up your diet, here's what I would recommend you do every month. 1 healthy start pack. 1 healthy start pack.
Okay.
2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. And I want you to take 15 of those a day. 5 with breakfast, 5 with lunch, and 5 with dinner. Okay?
Okay.
3 bottles of selenium a month. 3 bottles of selenium a month. I want you to take 9 of those a day, 3 with breakfast, 3 with lunch, and 3 with dinner. 1 extra bottle or 1 bottle of something called Cal Toddy. 1 bottle of Cal Toddy. That's a white liquid calcium. I'd like you to take 1 ounce of that in a little bit of orange juice immediately before bed. 1 ounce of the Cal Toddy in a little bit of orange juice immediately before bed. And last but not least, something called plant...
Can you take that with something other than orange juice?
Water. Anything that's acidic is best, but if you don't like that, you just put it with a little water. I don't want you to take that straight. It's very, very concentrated. I want you to dilute it with something liquid. You put it in vodka. I don't care, okay?
Okay.
All right. But you want to shoot that down immediately before bed. And last but not least, the 1 bottle of something called plant-derived minerals. That's a liquid mineral supplement. Now, that stuff tastes like water that's been in a garden hose for 7 days. It's got a very, very astringent, metallic taste to it. You need to do 1 ounce of that a day. And you can put that in anything that you want for taste. Or if you're just a trooper, you can just throw it right down the hatch, you know, like a soldier. Okay.
Could I take both of those together, the Cal Toddy?
You may. Yes, you may. You may do both of those together. Now, we're going to go back to the top here. Yep, they can. No problem whatsoever. Yep, absolutely. Right. As a matter of fact, there's merit to doing it that way. All right. Okay. Now, the first thing I told you was something called the Healthy Start Pack, and there are 3 things in that. There's 3 things in 1 Healthy Start Pack. One of the 3 things is another bottle of white liquid calcium. It's called Osteo FX Plus. O-S-T like Thomas, E-O. Osteo FX Plus. I'd like you to do 1 ounce of that in liquid in the morning. All right, so we're going to do 1 ounce of the Osteo FX in the morning and 1 ounce of the Cal Toddy immediately before bed. The next thing that's in the Healthy Start Pack is a fish oil capsule. It's called EFA, like Edward Francis Albert, EFA Plus. There's going to be 90 capsules in that bottle. I want you to do 3 capsules a day. And I don't care how you do that. You can do 3 with breakfast, 3 with lunch, 3 with dinner, or 1 and 1, or 2 and 1. I don't care, as long as you get 3 down the hatch every day. And last but not least, the king of the hill here is something called Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's a red nutritional multivitamin, multimineral powder. It's a powdered form. There's a little scoop in that bottle. Your recommendation is 1 level scoop in 12 ounces of water twice a day. 1 level scoop in 12 ounces of water twice a day, and I want you to take at least 60 minutes to drink each 12-ounce solution down. We're up against the hard break, Mary. Check that out. Give me a call back in about 3 weeks once you've started, and let the games begin. California is all over. Fire your MD now. Today, California is in the house. Lisa from California is next. Thanks for the call, Lisa. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. How are you?
Great, thanks. How can I help?
Okay, I've asked you questions regarding my husband's adhesions on the webinar, but something's not syncing, so I have a couple more questions for you. When we get him on the full protocol that you told me, is it possible to get that scar tissue to break down, or is it once that scar tissue is there, it's there?
Well, there are 2 schools of thought about that, and it depends entirely on, how much scar tissue is there, how long it's been there, and where anatomically it is.
Okay.
But, so we don't know how far back the body's going to be able to bounce really with anything, so we don't have a crystal ball, but we do know that the body has a built-in God-given ability to fix itself, that the body wants to fix itself, that the body is trying to fix itself all of the time. So in every case, all of the time, what we do is, we lean on the wisdom of the body and something called the vis medicatrix naturae, the body's built-in ability to fix itself. So we give the body the stuff it needs, stop eating the bad food, keep our fingers crossed and see how far back the body bounces. Now, sometimes, in addition to the medical nutrition treatment, you need a couple of good chiropractic adjustments, and then, boy, you're Johnny on the spot and life is good. Sometimes, in addition to the medical nutrition, you need a couple of rounds of homeopathy, or you need to go to a deep tissue massage person or have a couple of acupuncture treatments in order to kind of round out the treatment. So it's impossible to tell what's going to happen beforehand with your husband. But what we do know is that this is a very prudent, mandatory even, treatment modality. So now, if I had to guess at any type of extracurricular add-on that your husband might need, potentially that he might potentially be a candidate for moving forward here, it would be with something called deep tissue massage. Now, historically in the world, the queen of deep tissue massage therapy way back in the 60s was a woman named Ida Rolf. And Ida Rolf developed a very aggressive method of getting adhesions out of the way through a manual massage technique called Rolfing, right? Rolfing was just this side of torture. I mean, a Rolfing session was like really painful, and you didn't just need one, you needed like 14 different sessions. A Rolfer would, in one session, would work for 1 hour just on your left calf. I mean, very intense stuff. And then over the years, Rolfing morphed into more user-friendly forms of deep tissue massage, right? So I wouldn't recommend any more than anybody go to see a Rolfer, because it's just too intense for most people. But your husband may benefit from someone very well versed with deep tissue massage. And my advice in that arena is, if you're going to employ the services of someone that's doing deep tissue massage, then don't go to anyone who hasn't been doing it for less than 10 years. Find somebody who's been doing it for more than 10 years, and your husband might need a couple of rounds of, deep tissue massage to kind of get in to the area of the adhesion and to kind of rip that area open, so to speak, right? And once you've delivered the medical nutrition, the body might just unzip itself on its own, and the essential fatty acids would be the key here, as with the glucogel. But we need not overlook the obvious, because one of the main causes of adhesions forming in the first place is either a surgical procedure, right? And post-surgery, you get adhesions forming around the area of surgical trauma, or simple yet chronic undiagnosed dehydration. So one of the things you need to be mindful about moving forward here is looking to see what your husband's water intake is every day, right? Right. And if he, like me, is a coffee drinker, then you really need to be Johnny on the spot with it, because coffee and tea, of course, are diuretics, and they suck water out of your body. They suck water out of your body. So an interesting experiment for anybody to do, anybody in the listening audience to do. It's way easier, of course, if you're a man. Sorry, I didn't make anatomy. I'm just a victim of it. Right? For 24 hours. 24 hours, starting, from noon on Monday until noon on Tuesday. Every single time that you pee, you measure it. You pee into a measuring, cup, and measure how many ounces of urine you just peed out. And in the same 24-hour period, every single time you drink anything, you measure how many ounces it was. And then you compare the two. And if you're peeing out more than you're drinking in, you're dehydrated. That's a really kind of old-fashioned, down and dirty way to do it. And then, of course, the next most logical question is, well, Dr. Glidden, how much water should anybody drink in the course of a day? Nobody knows. There are a lot of different theories about how much water someone needs to drink. And I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's you-know-what. I don't know how much water is necessary to drink. Quite frankly, I don't think anybody knows. We have ballpark guesstimates, but honestly, if you're peeing out more than you're drinking in, you need to drink more in. It's that simple. So that's what I would do there. And, it's kind of 1 month at a time. And I wouldn't anticipate the worst, but I would, start looking around for people that do deep tissue massage and that have had a track record with it in your community, because your husband might need that moving forward.
Okay, so now are you of the belief that if we, nutrify the body and he does the deep tissue massage, and because he's had 3 abdominal surgeries, 2 for diverticulitis and 1 was a previous easy for me to say, adhesion removal surgery. So if it winds up that, we exhaust all the things that you've suggested, and he still is dealing with that adhesion and that scar tissue doesn't break down, are you of the mindset that if he is hydrated enough and has all that medical nutrition on board, that if for some reason he should decide to have another surgery to try to remove that one, that maybe the outcome would be different?
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe okay.
You bet, 100%. And I doubt very much that that's going to be the outcome. I really do.
Okay.
I really do. I'll give you a perfect example. A couple of weeks ago, actually, I don't know how long ago it was, but for some reason, I ran out of my essential fatty acids, and I travel a lot. I'm on the road a lot, and I might have left a bottle at a hotel, or, TSA confiscated it, or whatever, right? And so for about 7 days, I was out of essential fatty acids. And I noticed that there was a spot on my back. I don't know, it's about as big as the palm of my hand. It was a big spot on my back that felt exactly like sandpaper. It was this big spot on my back. It was like sandpaper. It was like shark skin. I was like, holy crap, what's that all about? Well, guess what? It was because I'd stopped taking my essential fatty acids, and I started my essential fatty acids again, and within 3-4 days it was gone. Perfectly normal skin again. And so this is the thing, right, that this is kind of the nature of the adhesive tissue, is that it's old dried out, gnarly stuff. And really, the reason that it's like the way that it is isn't because that's the way that it should be. It's because it doesn't have the nutrients necessary to be kind of elastic and pliable. So if I had to bet, I would bet that once he starts this program, he's going to have a remarkably different experience of the adhesions in his gut, even if they are from surgery, than before it. But lest we not forget our heritage, right? Because scar tissue notwithstanding, the gorilla in the room that needs to be addressed, of course, is, well, why did he need abdominal surgery in the first place, right?
Right.
So what was his diagnosis? Irritable bowel or ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease?
No, he was fine, and then he had the diverticulitis, but it was impacted, and they had to do emergency surgery on him. And then a year later, he was perfectly fine, and he bent over to put our daughter in her crib, and the adhesion wrapped around the bowel. So that was his second surgery, and then 3 weeks later, he wasn't even on solid foods yet, and he got diverticulitis again. They put a PICC line. They tried to fix it with antibiotics. It didn't work. We didn't know about you guys yet, so back into surgery he went, and then like a year and a half later, he wound up with another adhesion. So now he's down to like 4 feet of colon, and, now we run the risk of they can go in and try to fix it, but then, we worry.
Well, no. Yeah, I'm with you. So, so in non-life-threatening emergencies, we avoid surgery, right? Because you can't never unsurgery something. And for goodness sake, put yourself in the surgeon's shoes. He doesn't know anything else. So what do you think he's going to tell you? Oh, well, you need surgery, because that's all that they know, right? So, and the initial surgery probably saved his life. And remember, this is the domain of the MD, that, emergency surgery, when it's indicated, is an awesome thing. And from the greater perspective, from our point of view, diverticulosis and then diverticulitis The main root cause of those illnesses from our particular perspective are wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Wheat with breakfast, wheat with lunch, wheat with dinner. I mean, it's all the time. It's even in beer, for goodness sake, right?
Yeah, he has that diet.
Well, everybody does. And it's, you know, it's because this is the deal. This is the world that we live in, and we've been corrupted completely across the board. We've let the people that make the food tell us what food to eat. We've let the medical professionals with no education in medical nutrition tell us what foods to eat. And then when we get sick, we go to the drug dispensers and the surgeons. So what the heck? It's not your husband's fault. It's his doctor's fault. It's the fault of society, at the, you know, and then from a greater perspective. And then, you know, I don't know. We could just play the blame game all day and maybe trace it all the way back to Adam and Eve. I don't know. It's irrelevant. What's necessary is that we move forward strategically now. So, man, your husband, I don't even want him to look at the 10 bad foods, right? I mean, seriously, avoid that crap. Don't even look at it. Get on board with the nutritional supplements. Keep your fingers crossed and see what happens. And by the way, whichever way this one leans, Lisa, call me back on the radio with an update and a report, because, you know, we keep track of this stuff, and every little piece of data adds up and helps the greater whole. So listen, Lisa, thanks for your trust. Thanks for your continued showing up at the webinars. Thanks for your support is the word that I'm looking for. Now go out there and help your husband and take the next step, hopefully for you and for him, into the land of non-surgical health. Going back to California when we come back to talk to Pedro, ladies and gentlemen. It's California in the house today on Fire Your MD Now. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here. With the exception of Michigan, it's been California all day here, and now we're going back to California to end it up for today's show, May 10th, 2013. Vote for Pedro. Vote for Pedro, ladies and gentlemen. Pedro from California is in the house. Welcome back, Pedro. You are live.
Hey there, Dr. Peter Glidden. Thank you for voting for me. I need some help with 3 lady friends of mine, please. I have my first friend with lupus, and she's 150 pounds. What would you recommend for her?
Well, so I did a really great webinar on lupus. It's there in the archive sections of the online health recovery store, right? So you might want to check that out, Pedro. That's the short answer. The long answer is when we're affected with lupus, of course, we're not treating lupus. What we're doing is we're supporting and promoting the, in her case, the musculoskeletal system of her body and her skin, and to a certain extent the immune system. So the recommendation there is to avoid the 10 bad foods, do the anti-aging healthy start pack, selenium and glucogel appropriate for body weight. The anti-aging healthy start pack, selenium and glucogel appropriate for body weight, and it wouldn't hurt to add the root beer belly into the bargain. 1 packet a night before bed of the root beer belly, and try that for 90 days and see what type of traction she gets. That's the longer answer. All right. Now, how about number 2?
All right, number 2, I have this nurse I met over at the hospital. She's 126 pounds. Her name is Annette, and she has a slipped disc.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pedro, first of all, good on you for enrolling a nurse at a hospital into what we do. Talk about enemy territory, brother. You know, you get the award, man. You know, you're like our secret agent behind enemy lines, man, Pedro. So I'm really going to vote for you now, man. So, right, so what do we do with a slip disc? Of course, she's probably overweight. And is she overweight?
Chunky.
Yeah, right. So that means yes, right. So you know, when you have an undernutrified body and the intervertebral discs are weak because you're undernutrified, and why do I know you're undernutrified or she's undernutrified? Because she's overweight, and that's what causes people to be overweight is their body doesn't have enough nutrition, so they crave food. So when you're overweight with a weak disc, because it's an undernutrified disc, the disc is going to pop out because there's too much musculoskeletal stress from gravity, because the body just weighs too much, and the disc can't hold up the mass of the body because it's lost its nutrients. So we interface here with the Healthy Start Pack and selenium, appropriate for body weight, and the glucogel. And we dose the glucogel at 1 capsule per 10 pounds of body weight per day. 1 capsule per 10 pounds of body weight per day, plus, of course, elimination of the 10 bad foods. And once she's done that program for 30 days, for 1 month, she should also attempt to dial in 1,200 calories a day. And when she does that, she'll start to lose weight automatically. All right, brother number 3, we have 2 minutes left.
Perfect. All right, this is a very close family friend. She has panic attacks, and they have her on narcotics, and she can't sleep without them because they actually made her addicted to it.
Yeah, that's right, especially if they're benzodiazepines. They're extremely addictive, and she needs to be counseled that she needs to get on a withdrawal program if they are benzodiazepines as soon as possible, because the longer she takes that crap, the harder it's going to be for her to stop it. Now, from our point of view, this is a very relatively easy thing to interface with, because from the holistic vantage point, the majority of times panic attacks are simple mineral deficiencies, especially calcium and magnesium. And these are the things that we need to reinforce here when we're attempting to support and promote the structure and function of the central nervous system in the face of a diagnosis of persistent anxiety attacks. So the recommendation there is 1 Healthy Start Pack, the Healthy Start Pack appropriate for body weight, the selenium appropriate for body weight, 1 bottle of de-stress per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 extra bottle of calcium per month. My favorite, the Cal Toddy. Plus, of course, the diet. And every time she gets a panic attack, I mean, if she still does get them frequently, or once she starts to withdraw from the drugs, if she gets chronic recurring panic attacks, she can do 1 ounce of the calcium as needed in the face of the anxiety attack to see if that doesn't take the edge off. Ladies and gentlemen, you've wasted another perfectly 2 good hours listening to me. Thanks for your support. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next time.